never boring in the world of the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Sports, standing here at the Bell Center in Montreal in front of replicas of the Habs' 24 Stanley Cup championships. But I'm here to talk about goalies because today was Goalie News Day for the Philadelphia Flyers. The big news, Ivan Fedotov's contract in the KHL terminated, and it does appear Ivan Fedotov, the guy who was supposed to come over 2 seasons ago and then having to stay in Russia because of military requirements, that was a total mess. Then this season, there's been a big battle in terms of whether he would even be allowed to come over because of signed a contract in the KHL, and then there was a battle between the international hockey community and the KHL and Russia. It's been a mess the entire way through. However, it does appear that after all that, Ivan Fedotov is going to try to come over and play for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, there's no concrete confirmation, but Elliot Friedman, obviously one of the best, if not the best in the business in terms of breaking stories, did say it's believed that Fedotov is trying to come over and start his NHL career with the Philadelphia Flyers. The digging I've done, the people I've talked to, weren't willing to confirm anything specifically, but it certainly does seem like there are balls in the air, they're working through some things, and the goal is to try to get Fedotov over here. Now, this is big on a number of levels. It's not enormous. Now, Fedotov is still 27 going on 28. It's not like he's really a prospect anymore. However, he's an intriguing guy. There's a reason why they tried to get him to come over a few seasons ago to be then Carter Hart's backup heading into not this season, but the season prior. Number one, he's talented. Number two, he's huge. Now, he's somewhere between 6'6" and 6'8". He's an enormous goalie. He obviously had significant success a few years ago both in international play and in the KHL playoffs, so he has pedigree. And unlike a guy I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, Alexei Kolosov, Fedotov probably doesn't need AHL season. He's coming over probably to play in the NHL, which is a big deal for the Flyers right now because Sam Ersson has been handed the bulk of the load in goal for the Flyers, a team that's battling for a playoff spot. Felix Sandstrom, when he's played, especially his last 2 starts, not so good. So we've been discussing and surmising what they might do in order to possibly upgrade the backup role going into this stretch of games that means so much for the Flyers' playoff hopes. Now Ivan Fedotov is possibly in that mix. Look, there's no guarantee he's going to be able to get over here. I believe that they have to work through some visa issues, immigration. There's also the fact that currently Fedotov's 1-year NHL contract is in suspension, so they have to get the NHL to essentially lift that suspension and allow the contract to begin because of all of the back and forth going on with the KHL and the NHL and all the logistical nightmare that was. There are a lot of hoops the Flyers still have to jump through in order to get this done, but it certainly seems like they are trying. And adding Fedotov to the mix at the end of the season, certainly an interesting development. But he's not the only goalie we got some news about today. We did speak with General Manager Daniel Briere right before the morning skate, and he gave some information on Alexei Kolosov, the other goalie. Now, he's not Russian, he's Belarusian, but did play in the KHL for the last few years. He is one of the Flyers' top goaltending prospects. They are currently working to try to get him to come over as well. Same thing, visa issues, just trying to make sure they do all the right things to make sure that he can come over without ruffling any feathers. So he's in that process now. Briere said that's their primary focus at the moment. Briere also confirmed that Kolosov will start his North American career in the AHL. Now, that's a little bit of a tight situation because the Flyers have used up their 4 post-deadline recalls, meaning that they really aren't allowed to call up Kolosov if they start him out this season in the AHL. Now, next year it won't matter. He'll be able to play with the Flyers if he makes the team, but this season, he might not necessarily be able to get back up to the NHL level if they were to start him in the AHL, which appears to be the plan. Briere did say he thinks they might have a little bit of a workaround where they might be able to just swap him with Felix Sandstrom using an emergency recall. Now, at this point, with Fedotov now possibly coming over, it might not even matter. I would assume, given the fact that Fedotov has significantly more professional experience, he's older, I would guess that Fedotov would get the first crack at surpassing Sandstrom as the Flyers' backup during this playoff race. But Kolosov's still in the mix. Worth remembering about him because he is one of the Flyers' top goaltending prospects. So we'll see how this all shakes out, but it certainly does appear the Flyers are going to have a few options. As long as they can actually get these guys over, they're going to have a few options for these final few weeks of the season. Now, I know the primary focus right now for all Flyers fans is making the playoffs. That's going to be the focus on this final 9 games of the season and how they're going to get enough wins to get in their first playoffs since 2020. I get that. But to me, the bigger part of today's news, both with Fedotov and with Kolosov to a degree, is the fact that the Flyers are kind of rebuilding their NHL-ready pipeline. This season, we've already seen the emergence of Sam Ersson. He's getting a heavy, heavy workload right now. He's playing in a lot of meaningful games. The Flyers certainly view him as a potential option to be their future #1 goalie. But now, he might not be their only option. Obviously, Alexei Kolosov, one of their top prospects. He's a guy they think very highly of. They want to get him over to North America to prepare him to start his full-time professional career in North America next season, where likely will start in the AHL, but he'll have a shot to make the team out of camp. He's very much in the mix, and now you potentially add Ivan Fedotov. Now, Fedotov's contract situation is a little complicated. He's only on a 1-year deal. He's a pending UFA after the season, but I have to believe that if the Flyers worked this hard with both his KHL team, probably with the Russian authorities to make sure everything was okay, to get him a chance to come over here, they're not just going to play him in one NHL game, maybe a couple AHL games, and then just let him leave. I think this is meant to have him potentially be part of the future in Philadelphia. He's not young, but 27 going on 28, he still has quite a few potentially good goaltending years left. And it's also great to just see him potentially get his chance to play in the NHL. I know that was something he wanted a few years ago, obviously with the geopolitical issues, with having to do military service unexpectedly. He got literally pulled off the practice surface in the summer to have to do his military service. So great to see him come over, but he's talented enough where he could potentially be a fit. Now you have 3 goalies. You have Ersson, you have Kolosov, and you have Fedotov potentially, if they can work through this, who could be in the mix and battling to potentially be that new #1 that they probably lost with everything that happened with Carter Hart this season. It's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. I don't know how it's going to shake out. I don't even think the Flyers know how it's going to shake out. But now they have some options. They have 3 goalies who are potentially starter quality goalies, either now or in the future, that they can sort of just throw out there and see who comes out on top. So again, big day for the Flyers, eventful day for the Flyers, and we'll see over the next few weeks which of these European goalies they can get over here, and if either of them, or both, you never know, gets a shot to perform for the Flyers during this playoff run. I'm Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
We all silly like the mayor.